Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host. Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Jason Phillips. He's a Simpson County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Joanna.
Now, Jason, I'm glad you're here today because we're going to address some fall weed control. And a lot of people think that this time of year there's really nothing we can do, but there are a few weeds that we still have some chance of controlling.
Yeah, poison hemlock, which we have here with us today. Some of our biennial weeds, predominantly poison hemlock and thistles, are what we're targeting in November. And the key here, because we're getting on into November, so the key here is to, hopefully we would still have some warm days. Ideally highs around 60 degrees, lows around 40 for a couple to 2 or 3 days in a row. Now we could still get some control, let's say, if the high's in the mid 50s or something like that. But the thing is that weed needs to be actively growing. The chemistry is going to work, but the weed has to be actively growing for that chemistry to be effective, that herbicide to do its job.
Right, and you know, and we even have some of those days in December, but the key is to get it actively growing and to control it while it's small, because a lot of times when they think of poison hemlock, this is not the plant I'm thinking of, Jason.
Yeah, and we could, like you said, if we have some warm days early December, we could still get good control then. And that's why we're trying to target these weeds when they're young and tender, because, you know, this is a biennial weed. And as it gets larger, as you can see here, the taproot is already pretty large. And so even at this stage, in the rosette stage, so that obviously can be hard to kill. But like any weed, when it's young and tender, it's going to be a whole lot easier to control than when it gets large and stemmy and tough.
Absolutely, and poison hemlock certainly does that. I mean, we've seen it over our heads.
Oh yeah, it can get 7 or 8 feet tall, you know. So
let's talk about the significance, though, of poison hemlock. Like, we've seen a lot more of it in this area, and I mean, it has it in its name, poison hemlock. Is it poisonous?
It is. It does have toxic properties to all classes of livestock. Some are more susceptible than others. Cattle, goats, horses, those are probably the most susceptible. But all classes of livestock can be affected from poison hemlock. And so we need to control it in our pastures and our hay fields. And it can also retain toxicity in the bale. So we need to be able to identify it and control it, obviously, so that we can alleviate or minimize potential problems with poison hemlock, not to mention that it's going to compete with our desirable forages.
Absolutely. Now, you pulled these just recently, right?
Actually, yes. I pulled them very recently.
And so this is what it's going to look like in your fields. And like I say, a lot of times when we get calls about it, they want it identified to see what it is, and it's much larger than this. So they can just, are there specific things that we need to look for?
Yeah, typically when we get our calls, it's in the spring or early summer when they're large and noticeable and very hard to control. But things that you can look for, as you can see here, they've got small dissected leaves. And also on the stem, you've got these characteristic purple blotches. And that's always present on poison hemlock. It's somewhat easily confused with Queen Anne's lace or wild carrot, but Queen Anne's lace, the leaves are very similar, but the stem here never has any of the purple blotches. It's thinner, more herbaceous, and just green.
Okay, and see, I see a lot of purple. As it gets older, I see a lot of that purple there. Now, do you have to buy expensive chemistry to be able to kill poison hemlock?
No, in the fall, typically we recommend 2,4-D. AGR 207 is one of our publications that talks about pasture weed control, and it talks about, it shows an efficacy chart. But in the fall, when it's young and tender, 2,4-D is going to be your best choice to go with there. So you should get good control.
And you mentioned thistle, and we can also control thistles when they're small and in a rosette stage as well. And I bet if you look real hard, you might find both of these.
Exactly. Thistle basically mimics the life cycle of poison hemlock, which is why they're both good to control this time of year.
All right, well, good information, Jason. If you guys have questions about fall weed control or these two particular weeds, you can always contact your local extension office and we'd be happy to help. What was that publication again, Jason?
AGR 207.
You can go type that into your favorite search engine, University of Kentucky, and find all the information there as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.